series, also transfers and freshmen as well. Finish off that Stanford starting lineup. Cameron Brink, Haley Jones, the two All-Americans. Hannah Jump had a big game against Grambling State in Hawaii, and also the aforementioned Erie Alphen, who we saw get the second basket of tonight. On the other side, for Santa Clara, Adriana Basalo. We have Olivia Pollard, Laura Edmondson, Ashley Hiraki, and then, of course, the dangerous Tess Heel. And right on cue, there is the freshman sensation Tess Heel out of Australia.
Yeah, she's averaging 17.4 points a game. I mean, she's quality. She's able to get to the basket. She's scored 3 levels tonight to get it going. Short jumper by jump. But one thing that Stanford is doing, they're scoring their points inside the painted area, nice area by jump as well. They're exploiting their front court size. You can see there's a block by Haley Jones as well. You can tell just their front court alone how much bigger they are in regards to the Broncos.
I'll tell you what, though, one thing to say about this Broncos team, they're not going to be afraid. They look on this floor and see the Pac-12 logo on it. They went up against the Washington Huskies their last time out, got the win. You know, it was a big performance from Tess Heel that led the way. But they're not going to shy away from big-time opponents, as there's a pull-up three-pointer knocked down by Ashley Hiraki.
She's shooting close to 30% from behind the arc. As you mentioned, they're not afraid. They've played a Pac-12 team. They've been victorious. They have the confidence coming in. Nice job by Brink to walk up 3.
Always love it when Cameron Brink can step outside. You have someone 6'5" that can knock down the 3 on you.
Yeah, the walk-up 3 is always a challenge, in particular if your 5-man can knock it down. In this case, you're 4.
9-5 right now, Stanford. Hiraki with it, guarded by Jones. Shot clock almost all the way dead. They're going to have to go with a tough shot from Pollard. It only hit the backboard, shot clock violation.
As we mentioned, Stanford on the road in the tournament that they won 28 points in terms of plus minus. 52 points they gave up in 3 games while they were in Hawaii. Their lowest was against Hawaii when they gave 68-39.
Haley Jones with it. Screen from Erie Alphen. Haley's going to pull up at the elbow. That's no good. Remember when Haley Jones first came in as a freshman, that was that area that she really excelled in offensively when it came to her jump shot in the mid-range game, and now you see her flexing the defensive muscles as well. 21 seconds on the shot clock. Will still be Santa Clara ball.
Yeah, I was taking a look at her stats, and she's not shooting from behind the arc well. Historically, that's not been her forte. If she can add that piece to her game, as you mentioned, add another tool to the toolbox, she will be just an exciting professional athlete because she's going to get a chance to play at the next level.
Yeah, something tells me every single time Stanford steps on the floor, you have a good chance of seeing 2 top 10 draft picks that are on one team. And a foul has just been charged to one of them, Cameron Brink. Well, again, per usual, having such a dominating presence defensively, she will be subbed out here at that foul. 31 blocks of the first 9 games for Cameron Brink. That's the most by a Stanford player since at least 1999.
Yeah, checking his record, she had 17 games last time out. 17 points, rather.
At 5 threes coming in that one against Hawaii. Pull-up jumper is left short. Rebound gathered by Prechtel.
Edmondson would have been better served taking the first look at a jumper versus going inside to the trees. She had a wide open look, decided to turn it down.
Erie Alphen flexing the muscles inside for 2.
So anytime Erie Alphen gets the ball on the right block, she's going to do that swing through move, jump stop inside, use her strength, go over the top.
She does such a good job of just driving through opponent's chest, using her strength in her legs. 3-pointer good. Nice catch and shoot opportunity for Olivia Pollard. Shooting right around 36% from outside this year. 11-8 right now your score. Now here comes Haley. Erie Alphen mid-range jumper. You love to see that out of her.
And again, she's scoring at 2 levels, right at the pinch post area in the block. So she's extending her game coming from her freshman year to her sophomore season. You can see she's playing with more confidence. She's in the starting lineup. She's giving you consistent buckets.
Nice use of the pivot foot for Tess Heel. And captain of a 3-time junior national champion, Lowther Hall, coming from Melbourne, Australia. You heard what Doc said, averaging over 17 points per game coming into this. If you look at all 6 of the major D1 conferences in the West Coast, as that one's no good for Prechtel, she is leading all freshmen in terms of points per game.
Yeah, she's just looking at it right now. She has a quality game. We mentioned the fact she can score at 3 levels, go inside, crack you around the rim.
No good. Erioffen again on the boards. No. Jones reverse, not good. Erioffen, third time's a charm.
And this is where Stanford will have a significant edge. Their front court, their length inside, vertical spacers down low. They're able to get the offensive rebound, second chance opportunity. That was actually a third chance opportunity. They was able to convert.
Santa Clara trying to find some room to get a shot off. And going back to that, let's go back a couple of possessions to that Pollard jumper. You said she would have been better off on the first one, as there's another block. That time Haley Jones on heel. But I think sometimes if you go against the Stanford team and you haven't seen size like they have, especially inside, it's a nice floater from Hannah. Jump wouldn't go. It goes out of bounds. At first, we will have our media timeout. So, but again, going back to that point, usually their teams, they're not used to seeing all the size that Stanford has. So you might think you have a wide open take to the lane, and that's not usually the case.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it from that perspective, obviously, when you get an open shot, you think you can go in and inside, because that's typically you want to get the closest shot to the basket. But when you're playing a team like Stanford, 6'8", 6'7", around the vertical spacers inside, you have to take what's given to you at that point. So the short jumper that she had at the mid-post, she didn't take to decide to go inside. Thought she was getting a better shot, but it was more of a contested shot. She would have taken the first shot. If she would have actually missed that, we would have an opportunity for an offensive rebound as well, because the defensive player had to come out and defend that. So they have to understand and recognize this is one of the bigger teams they're going to face in the country, which is different, right? I mean, teams are going to face a front line of 6'6", 6'8", 6'7". And here's the thing, Waddy, they take one out, and then they bring another one in. And so they're constantly bringing these players in. So you just have to get used to playing in terms of that type of space. Take the outside shots and you get them up in the air, try to get in their body, and try to get a foul in that way.
We'll take a quick break here in the middle of the media timeout. Stanford in front right now, 15-10. Just under 4 minutes left to go in quarter number 1. Stanford in front right now by 5. A couple more substitutions, and there's one of them for Santa Clara. On the 3, Mariah Hutchins, no good. On the other end, Prechtel left it long. And just like you would expect to see in a game, right, Doc? So far for Stanford, your three-point shot takers, about 6'3" and 6'4".
What it does is it stretches the floor, because when you have a big that can come down and shoot the ball from distance, what it does, it opens up driving lanes, and that's what Prechtel brings.
Shot clock under 10. All swung over. Here comes the drive, and there's going to be a travel. That's one of the things that going into this year, and she's improved on it so much year in, year out, but Hannah jumped defensively. You see her capability of playing on-ball defense, especially this year.
Yeah, you recall when she came in as a freshman, she was kind of green, obviously learning how to play team defense. One of the difficult defense to learn how to play when you come to high school to college is team defense, because now you're not better than the man in front of you. So you have to now rely on your other players, get on the help line, get on the nails, so to speak, understand being away from the ball when passed away and things of that nature. Once you get into that situation, you kind of learn how to play defense.
Haley Jones with it on the right side. Pulls up for two, left it short.
And that was a perfect example of how to play defense. Santa Clara was all on the imaginary line, so it cut down on the driving lanes.
Thought about it. Now drive down the lane, and the recovery from Haley Jones a little late, and she'll be charged with the foul.
So in that situation there, you had Hudkins who came with the shot lift, got to the rim, but decided to go over here, see where he can take a look. There's the shot lift there. Take the shot right at that point at the pinch post. She decides to go in. Now you have that length trailing from behind. She gets the foul, but if she had taken a shot right at that pinch post, I would have liked that shot better.
So here is Mariah Hudgens, a freshman from Aurora, Colorado. Makes the first free throw. Not too many opportunities from the stripes so far from her this year. That was her 10th attempt. She now made 5 of them. Had 11 points off the bench in that win versus Washington. 3-point game now. Here comes Lopolo. Nice screen by Iriafen to open up. Hannah jump, no good. Ball was tipped out by Haley Jones. It'll go to the Broncos.
Yeah, they ran a fade screen. Iriafen on the screen for jump in the right corner. She was long on the jump shot. It's a called set coming down.
Lopolo picking up about 3/4 of the way. Got a switch. See if Santa Clara tries to use it. They don't look that direction. They go actually to the other side of the floor. Again, good job, Hannah Jump, staying in front of Pritchard. A lot of dribbling Pritchard. Can she get a shot off? Goes up with the right, puts it in. Good defense, but that's a lot of times in basketball. Better offense beats good defense. And speaking of defense, Erie offense going to beat the defense down the floor with a score and a chance for one more.
Yeah, I love those right back at you buckets. You score, I score. That takes the heart out of the team that just scored. Nice job by running the floor. Chin up was able to get the layup. You take a look here. Here's the make by Pritchard. Great job of advancing the basketball. You see her chin is up there wide. Nice advanced pass up the lanes. Iriafen did a great job of catching it, going all the way through for the layup, for the opportunity for the 3-point play.
Another assist for Talana Lopolo. And we talked about how Cameron Brink has been impressive and some of the numbers that she has been the best in terms of program history, the turn of the century. Talana Lopolo's right there as well with her. 51 assists coming into tonight, which again is the first for a Stanford player in the first 9 games since the start of the century. That one sent away though. Good block by Olivia Pollard. The Broncos trying to push. Good pass inside. Pollard gets the block and then gets rewarded on the other end.
The Broncos are not shying away of pushing the ball right back at the Cardinal.
Elena Boscana fresh into the game, now driving. Lopolo looked like she was going to try to catch and shoot. Took her eyes off the pass before she had it. Now they go inside to Iriafen. Squares up, mid-range, short corner jumper, no.
Iriafen's footwork around the rim is impressive in her second season.
You can tell the feel that she has down there has definitely grown and changed. Pritchard straight on 3. Santa Clara with the lead.
Santa Clara's done a great job of screening and getting open, not a man movement and ball movement, getting open shots, knocking down the ball, shots from well distance.
Shot clock is dead. Looks like Stanford's going to hold it for the final shot. Now they get an action with 10 seconds. Haley Jones drives to the right, goes with the reverse, puts it in. Nice move, Haley Jones.
Second side layup by Jones, using the left hand, as you mentioned. Curled it around the rim, was able to finish.
Well, that will do it for quarter number one. It's shaping up to be a pretty good fight. Both teams right now shooting right around 45%, 45 on the nose for Stanford, 47 for Santa Clara. We'll take a break here, and when we come back, it'll be time for the second quarter of action. Right now, the number 2 team in the country, the Cardinal, in front, 20-19. Well, who knows, Doc? Maybe we're looking at this replay right now, the little shooting competition we just had. We might be looking at a couple of future Cardinal.
That's what it's all about. To get a chance to get on the floor, self-actualization, see themselves in a couple of years. You may be right.
Santa Clara will start off with the ball. Deep three over Belieby's no good. And now Haley Jones will get the rebound, push it the other way. Taking it coast to coast, and the whirling layup, no. She got it back, though. Nice pass to Belieby, who's getting her first action tonight. Puts it in for 2.
Nice job by Haley Jones to hang around the rim, get the steal. Nice assist to Belieby.
22-19 in favor of Stanford. One thing I thought that was pretty interesting, we talk about the depth of Stanford's team, but it was Santa Clara that flexed the depth muscles in the first quarter. They outscored Stanford's bench 7-0.
They did a great job. I mean, they came in ready to play. What it's all about. I mean, they come in with confidence being Huskies, so they know they can play with a Pac-12 team. I mean, Stanford is obviously number 2 team in the country, but that does go well in terms of confidence, so you can play against a Pac-12 club.
There's Elena Boscana, pull-up mid-range jumper. Talk about players that have really shown growth from one year to the next. Elena Boscana early on has done a good job of showing that as well.
Yeah, she's getting the opportunity to play, taking advantage of it.
Coming in, shooting over 50% from the floor, about 39% from 3. And speaking of three-pointers, there's Mariah Hudgens again. She came in shooting over 35%.
Yeah, 10 toes behind the line. Was able to knock it down, catch and shoot.
Boscana with it again. To the corner, Lopolo drives baseline, floater, no, rebound Belieby, and she'll tip it in for 2.
Nice job by Belieby, not bringing the ball down, just tipped it right in. Opposite side of the basket.
Stanford by 4. Heel with it. Guarded by Navarre, now Belieby. Lost it for a second, got it back, tried to go up with it. Navarre came back, stripped it off her leg. It'll go to Stanford's way.
Yeah, she came to a jump stop and came in on the other side, but again, we have those vertical spacers down low. Nice drive inside. The Polos going to say that was a pass. Over rim. Actually going to say, give me the assist.
I'll tell you what, the way LaPolo can pass it, if she tried to play it off the rim that way and said it was a pass, I'd believe her. Boscana tried to go baseline, but was denied access by way of a foul by Ashley Hiraki. That'll be her first. Only the first of the quarter as well for Santa Clara.
So this is going to be an important quarter for the Broncos to stay in contact. If you have any aspirations to try to get this upset win, it'll be in the second quarter.
Well, one thing they're going to have to try to find a way to do, I know it's a tough, tall task to ask of, and that's to find a way to keep Stanford off these offensive boards, because Fran Believy right now is absolutely dominating the O boards for the Cardinal.
We talked about their vertical spaces, their length in the front court. That was going to be a problem. Stanford can continue to bring players in consistently, so you constantly bring a 6'4", 6'5" in a game, kind of wears you down.
Tess Hill driving on Brink. Now Boscana's there too. Quick pass out of the hands of Basalo. Trying to get down underneath, but they couldn't connect.
Nice inside. It goes there to Polo there. Swing it around. There's a 3-ball. And there's Believe. Gobbles it up.
How about the poise of LaPolo to get out of there? There were 4 players around her, and she found a way to get out of that mess and set that up. There's Brink tipping it to herself. Keeps it alive. Hannah jump for 3. Yes.
That's a great job by Brink to find the open man on the offensive rebound. Waddy, that's the most difficult play to kind of defend because everyone's kind of going inside. You can see here the ball kicks out to Hannah jump, sets her feet and knocks it down, but Brink did a great job of finding a shooter. Jump was able to knock a jump shot down from distance for the 3-ball.
Ever since she got to Stanford, well, even before that, you want to go back to her Pinewood days. In the words of 2K, she's always had that gold catch and shoot badge. And so, of course, you know, Stanford is going to try to find her in any situation and opportunity they can to get her an open look.
Yeah, Coach Doc Shepler down there. I know he typically watches the games down there. We'll call him. Doc, if you're listening, thumbs up. Did a great job with Hannah Jump.
Yeah, he's definitely done a good job with a couple of players over the years, to say the least. Down at Pinewood, home of the Panthers. So right now, 31-22 your score. Stanford with a 7-0 run. Again, the biggest thing that I've seen so far is, we talked about, you want to dominate the inside. And I think usually, Doc, when people say dominate the inside, they usually talk about scoring in the paint. Well, right now, what I mean by that is Stanford is owning the rebounds category. 15-10 right now overall, but 7-2 on the offensive boards.
And 18-8. I mean, they're plus 10 inside. So think of their vertical spacers. I mean, you're a football guy. It's a running game. I mean, they're constantly running the ball and pounding it down your throat, and eventually you're going to capitulate. And you can see, as I mentioned earlier, coming in the second quarter, this was going to be the most important quarter for the Broncos if they wanted to stay in contact. You can see now they jumped out to an 9-point lead at this point, 7-0 run coming out of the timeout. So that's why the timeout was made by the head coach. Hey, we got to settle things down, get back to the basics of things that we were doing well, but you're going to have to compete with the size of the Cardinals.
No, without a doubt, a good timeout here called by Bill Carr in his 7th season at Santa Clara. Well, of course, we want to talk about Bill Carr being here. Already the 4th winningest coach in Santa Clara history. He is now 84 wins, so just 16 away from that 100 plateau, 14 away from a 300 in his career. And while being at Santa Clara right now, those 84 wins, those are the most he's had, or tied for the most that he's had at any stop along his collegiate career, where he had 84 as well at Spring Hill College, where he was coaching the men's team.
Sometimes why it just comes down to an opportunity, the right place, right time.
And what better opportunity than going up against the number 2 team in the country? There's a nice backdoor cut. We usually see that from Stanford.
Yeah, they ran a nice 5-out motion set, open post offense, so able to get a backdoor cut.
Well, good response out of the timeout. That shot no good. Believy fighting for the rebound. Boscana has it, but taken away. Good active hands by Ashley Hiraki.
The Broncos, what they're going to have to do is kind of spread Stanford out, play on the perimeter, and try to get driving lanes. Stanford switches on everything, so they have opportunities to get mismatches, opportunities to score.
Here's Tess Heel. Driving. Took an extra step. I don't blame her, trying to get around Fran Believy, and gets called for it.
Yeah, suitcase violation, travels, bags on the floor. Referee said no, not tonight. But again, try to take that extra step because you had the length that she tried to get around when she got downhill, was not able to do so.
Good luck trying to take that extra step. I don't know if you saw the Warriors game last night, Doc, but there seems to be a premium, an emphasis on Bay Area teams and calling travels as of late.
Yeah, they got the memo all the way from the NBA.
Exactly. The Warriors fell short against the Mavericks last night. That shot from Brink, no good. And there's something that we haven't seen much in this quarter, though, a one-and-done possession from the Cardinal. Here's Hill from three, a high arcing three over Believy. He missed it to the left.
See, the Broncos will have to commit multiple players to the glass to get the rebound.
Well, talk about the other side of that. Obviously, you do want to have at least one or two players that not necessarily leak out, but you want to have something getting ready to go in transition. So, of course, you'll have to sacrifice one of those to help out the other.
Yeah, Waddy, but you can't get in transition if you don't have a basketball.
Exactly.
So you got to get the basketball first.
Fran Believy crossover in the lane, goes up with the right hand through the contact. Couldn't finish it, but we'll go to the line for two.
Yeah, Fran Believy looking like, I know you're going to call that foul. I mean, she was like, I just got hammered here. We'll take a look at it on the replay. You can see here that was a nice help defense. Got her hands in the passing lanes, behind the back dribble. It says right here, I'm going to go up. There's a foul. And if we can continue with the look she gave the referee, said, hey, listen, I got hammered. Yeah, I know you're going to call that foul.
Foul was called on Mariah Hudgens. But again, going back to the steal, though, I think one thing people forget when you see Fran Believy, obviously we know about the dunking and how she can play above the rim at times. But in the grand scheme of things, now she is very tall, right? About 5'11", 6 foot, 6'1" in that area. But when you think about some of the women who have dunked multiple times in women's college basketball, they're 6'3", 6'4". Of course, you have Brittany Griner, who was even above that at 6'7". You forget exactly, one, how high she can jump, but also how long her arms are.
Yeah, she's extremely athletic, and she jumps off of one leg. And like you mentioned, she has long arms as well, so she's able to cover a lot of ground when she gets in the air.
Also helps her in passing lanes. That's why we saw her get that steal. Here's Boscana from Lopolo for three in transition. No. Rebound Hudgens. We're going the other way.
So 4 minutes remaining. You have to play these games in like 4 minute spurts. The media timeout to try to get back in the game. Carve into this lead for the Cardinal.
Shot clock at 10. Pritchard swings to Heel. Bobbled. She's going to try to make something here and come up with something on Boscana. Turn to the left. No good. Good defense.
Hill has great footwork around the rim for a guard.
Blank over the contact and one.
And that was a great job by Cameron Brink to kind of settle herself, jump into the defender and flip it off the glass. Establish herself, knew exactly what she wanted to do with a bucket.
I think sometimes with Cameron Brink, especially when you see how aggressive certain players like Kiki plays on the post, or how strong Fran is, I think with all the superlatives you can give Cameron Brink, sometimes what she doesn't get credit for is how strong she is as well in contact.
Yeah, she's long, but she's extremely flexible, and she's strong, as you mentioned. She can take the contact, and she has great balance as well. Understands how to use the window. What I liked about that was she got the basketball, didn't put it on the ground, just kind of knew exactly what she wanted to do, kind of mouse in the house situation, and threw it right off the glass with a bucket.
Because, Doc, I don't know about you, but I have this petty gene in me, so I keep receipts. And I remember last year during that NCAA tournament run, there were a couple people on Twitter that were saying there were going to be some post matchups where Cameron Brink was going to struggle, and that was the reason. I think, again, you look at her, and they were thinking maybe she would struggle against some of those stronger post players that Stanford would see. You know, they played in like Maryland, Texas, South Carolina, you name it. Cameron Brink still dominated some of those matchups.
Yeah, and she read those Twitter posts as well. I mean, she's very,
right.
You know, she's a competitive person.
Great defense again by Boscana. Gives to jump. Cameron Brink fighting for position, and that's going to force another foul called. Once again on Lara Edmondson.
What I liked about that play is that Brink ran to the opposite blocks, and then she realized that she could go to ball side, so she used the swim move to get across the lane to create the foul. She didn't settle to be away from the basketball. She demanded the basketball using a swim technique to get across the lane. You can take a look here. You see she's running down the left side of the lane.
They go right back to her. Another Cameron Brink touch, another Bronco foul.
And this is where Stanford is flexing their might at this point here. We mentioned the fact that they have vertical spacers down low. There's really not that many teams that can match up with Stanford's length inside in their front court, and they continue to go on inside, taking advantage of it. I mean, that's just called smart basketball, recognizing your strengths and going after it.
Of course, there is going to be the next big part of Cameron Brink's game to elevate it. Well, really, Stanford as a whole, they shot in the 60s last year. Right now, right around 74% as a team from the free throw line.
Yeah, last year that was an issue as well. So that's something they definitely have to correct, especially when you get into postseason play, because as you know, the game is played in 54 feet in three areas. I always talked about Waddy, layups, putbacks, and free throws, and those free throws usually come into play late in competition. As I always say, the free throw line can be the best defender, the sixth defender on the floor late in the game.
Well, speaking of the free throw line, I have to ask you, because I've been hearing about this horse matchup that's been going on between you and, of course, one of the other great broadcasters that we have here, Kevin Danning. He's on the radio side. Did he give you all those letters from free throws? Is that what happened, or what was the case?
Yeah, he hijacked me down there. We did a Santa Cruz game, and I haven't shot a basketball in 3 years since I did a last Santa Cruz game. He pulled me out of there.
Well, see, that's on you. That seems like that's the trend then. If you do a Santa Cruz game, you're playing horse.
Yeah, you know, I'm going back on the 20th, so I'll be ready.
There you go.
Get my conditioning in as well.
Get the conditioning in, bring the shoes, the compression shorts, you name it, a little bit of everything.
Exactly. I had the wrong shoes on. I had everything that was not basketball friendly, but that's okay. We'll match up again.
Foul there on Haley Jones on the second opportunity for the Broncos. Haven't had a chance to say that much. And at the line will be Olivia Pollard. And Pollard so far tonight, 5 points and 2 of 4 shooting. Missed that first free throw. 1 rebound. And actually goes 0 for 2. Comes in averaging right around about 9 a game. That being points. Brink at the top of the arc. To Hannah, jump for 3. Foul! Count it! The score, the chance for one more from Hannah, jump from outside.
Nice job. She came off of the screen, came off ready to shoot, inside foot, knocked down the 3 ball, had the old opportunity for a 4-point play. I'm surprised she didn't count the 4 fingers like Steph Curry does, but I see you were doing it for her.
I did it for her. But
40-24, and we talked about the second period is going to be the most important period for the Broncos. They've only scored 5 points.
And part of that, too, you've seen how tough it's been. Stanford has really forced them to go really deep into shot clocks. Here's a 3-pointer on a catch and shoot, and that's good. 3-pointer coming from Jade Kadee.
And they're going right inside again. There's the double team. Going to leave the open shooter.
It was Agnes Emanopu out of the corner. That no good. Well, there's a perimeter player that if you're Santa Clara, you want them to shoot him, would be Emanopu of anyone on the Stanford roster. 3-pointer no good. There's a rebound and then a basket inside for Pollard.
Broncos are playing hard, trying to stay in this match. Down by 11.
I think what you might want to see Stanford start doing just a little bit is a 3 no good from Brooke Dimitri into the game. Maybe let's see if they post up Cameron Brink on the same side with Hannah jump. You see that Santa Clara, they're going to try to double inside, so might as well make them pick their poison.
And that's a good call. I'm sure that's something that they're going to talk about at halftime. They don't do it here at the end of the second quarter.
Miscommunication on the switch led to an open shot. Another long offensive rebound for Santa Clara. And we're going to have a foul on Agnes Imanopu.
So one way that Santa Clara was keeping themselves in the game in the first quarter, Waddy, is that they was making shots. So it was 20-19 at the first quarter, so they were still in contact, but Stanford defensively has been able to ramp it up in the second quarter. Now they're plus 10.
After the foul, Kiki Iriafen comes back in for Stanford. 40-29 here in the second quarter. And you can see it. There's so many times where these Santa Clara guards think they might be used to having that shot, driving the lane, and then they realize, okay, this isn't your usual basketball team you're going up against inside.
Yeah, you're talking about one again. I mean, the WCC does not have this type of length in the conference. I mean, and take a look at it. The fact of the matter is that they were picked number 8 in the preseason in the WCC. Now, taking a look at them, I don't believe they're an 8th big ranked team by just looking at them right now.
Well, that's going to be a pretty good conference if they are.
Yeah, exactly. So I think they do much better than an 8th seed in the conference just by looking at them this evening. But they're not going to face any team in the WCC with multiple post players 6'6" and above.
And another part of that, too, in terms of where Santa Clara might be projected to finish, there was a lot of unknowns. Is there some good defense right there by Ashley Hiraki, deflecting that away? But there were so many unknowns because, again, you had 8 players who, coming into this year, had never played any minutes for Santa Clara. But I think early on already, you've kind of seen. I think that if some coaches had to redo that poll, it might be a little higher. Here's Lapolo with it. Game clock down to 3, now 2. Iriafen at the elbow, no. Rebounded by Hiraki, and that will do it for the first half. Well, so far, Stanford shooting 42% from the field. Santa Clara at 39. Looked like Stanford was going to really take this one out, but a scoring drought the last 2 minutes and 14 seconds for Stanford, and Santa Clara crawls back into it just a little bit. Halftime here at Maples. We'll be back with you for the second half, but right now the Cardinal in front by 11. Taking a look at some of the highlights from the Cardinal in that first half. They had the 40-29 advantage over the Santa Clara Broncos. Now, Doc, we were talking during halftime. And again, one thing I said before we went to a break, Stanford had a scoring drought. The last 2 minutes and 14 seconds, they didn't score. But there was something that you noticed, though, and it really revolved around the media timeout in that second quarter. What was it?
Yeah, after the first media time, coming out of the break of the first period, Santa Clara was 1 for 3 up until the first media timeout, and that's where Stanford made their biggest run. Defensively, they did a great job. Turned the ball over in the second quarter 6 times. They went into the first quarter with 2, came out with 6. So Stanford was able to extend because they was not able to get any shots up. We're talking about Santa Clara. You have to manage the basketball against teams like this because they want to get out in transition, make the easy baskets because you have to deal with their size and things of that nature. So they have to do a better job, be more judicial with the basketball. You know, I always talk about the first pass is the most important pass in basketball because once you make the first pass, you can get to the second pass, right? And that's what they were not able to do in the second quarter. Before you know it, Stanford was getting a lot of runouts, a lot of open court, live ball turnovers, odd man transitions, and they was able to pay dividends and layups.
Yeah, I think one thing that's interesting with that, so you're talking about the media timeout. I'll go a little bit before that. So at that 6:45 mark, that's when Santa Clara called that timeout. So at that point, like you were mentioning, Santa Clara only had 3 shots at that point in the quarter. But at that point, it was a 9-point game. You look at the end of the quarter, Santa Clara had 13 shots total, so 10 shots in the last 6:45, yet Stanford was still able to extend their lead. Now, of course, a lot of that had to do with the efficiency for Stanford, at least in the first part of that quarter. Stanford shot over 50%, but their defense really locked in. The 6 turnovers in that quarter for Santa Clara, 2 of those were shot clock violations.
And you have to look at the fact of the matter is a lot of the baskets that Stanford was making was post-ups in the blocks, a lot of live ball turnovers, a lot of easy baskets, so they didn't have to work really too hard in terms of scoring. They was out in the open court. Believe was out in the open court, got one as well. Brink was posting up. Believe was posting up. So everyone, Iriafen was posting up when she was in the game, so they was able to take those turnovers and get it right to the rim and get easy baskets.
Traveling called on to Lana Lopolo to start the quarter. Inside hand attempt at the layup. No good for Hiraki, but we're going to have a foul on Cameron Brink.
So Hiraki baseline turned the screen down, drove baseline, tried to go to the sneaky hand inside layup, but she's seeing Brink coming across. Now, in the normal circumstances, she probably would have been more confident going to the rim, but when she's seeing Brink, she flipped it up earlier, anticipating the shot blocker coming across.
And of course, sometimes when you go with that inside hand, it's like you mentioned, it's an adjustment. There are 2 main adjustments that you'll go to. As that goes out of bounds off Cameron Brink, it'll stay on that end of the floor. There are usually 2 finishing adjustments you go to, right? Either you go off the wrong foot, that 1-step finish instead of 2, or you go the inside hand, you change the angle, maybe you can get a foul like Hiraki was able to, as the jumper is no good, but following her own shot is Basalo. Now baseline test. Heel, what a finish.
So the second side layup by Hill was outstanding. Was when baseline drive, used the second side of the rim for the off the glass layup.
Something tells me we will see her name on some postseason, end of the season WCC honors when it's all said and done. Another turnover for Stanford. I'm sure Tara Vanderveer isn't too happy with this start offensively in the third quarter.
I would agree with that. In terms of the Broncos come out with a lot of energy. You had a turnover, Stanford in. Now you can see straight line drive to the basket.
Good defense and hands by Hannah Jump. You saw Cameron Brink was also there ready to help out. The arrow will keep it, though, possession for Santa Clara.
There's a baseline out of bounds play. 4 to 6 points, if you can maneuver that per game, bodes well.
Well, there were 2 that just went in and out. Rebound by Haley Jones for her. Rebound at number 5. Hannah Jump for 3. Nothing but the bottom of the net.
Jump was able to set her feet. See there. Quick release for the bucket.
Yeah, you'll be hard-pressed trying to find a faster release than that in the country.
That player's in the NBA. In terms of
Exactly.
release.
Well, there's two of them that might be on the same team, but outside of that, that might be it. Good post defense by Stanford. Iriafen with it. Now to Lopolo. You know she's going to look to run and get someone set up. Brink turns, puts it in for two. Sometimes it can be that simple, right? Keep the ball above your head, turn, and hit the shot. Nice steal by Haley Jones.
Jones did a great job of keeping her eyes on the basketball, seeing the pass, was able to get her hand up, was able to get the steal.
Swing to Lopolo, now inside Iriafen. Strong move back to the left. Left it a little short. And another foul on Cameron Brink.
Yeah, I like the crab dribble inside by Iriafen, then she goes back over her right shoulder. Was not able to finish, but nice idea.
And so with that, Brink is going to get foul number 3, and Fran Levy will come in for her. $7:40 left to go. Stanford by 13. Again, so far it's been a pretty good start to this quarter for Santa Clara. But sometimes I think that might be the frustrating part of it, right? They have a good start this quarter, but so far Stanford had a 2-point edge, and now 4, the chance to make it 5 for Fran Levy going to the stripes.
And Stanford is doing a great job. Their bigs are running the lanes, doing their work early. Here's a nice entry pass into the post to Believe. See, she seals off her man catch and just lifts it right off of the window. Great job of Believe to sealing and finishing.
On the other end, Hannah jumped. Looked like she was holding her ear. Now she's playing with the back of her neck. I think she's all right. Let's hope so. Believe he gets the free throw. That's point number 10 for her tonight. 8-0 run now for the Cardinals.
Stanford is definitely using their inside presence, scoring at will.
Deep 3 over Believe is no good. There's a rebound and the quick putback up and in. That put in by Hudgens.
You can tell Santa Clara's offense is running further and further away from the basket. Now they're definitely relying on three-point shots and offensive rebounds or stickbacks if they can get them.
Pull up 2 is no good. Ball tipped around, still tips. And with the volleyball match that's going on between the trees, it goes out of bounds to the Broncos.
And that shows you the length on the floor. The smallest player is the Polo. Take a look. You have Jones 6'1", Iriafen 6'3", Leve 6'1", Bosnov 6'1". That's a very tall lineup on the floor.
Heel did a good job using her body to shield off Believe, but couldn't finish with the left. I think she was a little surprised at how open she ended up being. Jones swings, Lopolo for 3. In and out, rebound Believe, keeps it high, no. Iriafen goes up and will draw the foul.
They're just passing the ball between the bigs down low. I mean, okay, you don't get it. Okay, I'll get this one on the other side. I mean, you look at the size down low, it's impressive. And here's the shot. Offensive rebound, Leve, no. Iriafen will say, I'm right here. There's the foul. I mean, it's like they're passing to one another.
Oh, and by the way, we still haven't seen 6'7" Lauren Betts yet, who's been very impressive as of late, too, for Stanford.
Yeah, Lauren Betts can catch the ball with both hands. Had a chance to watch her last time we did a game down here. Very fluid around the rim. And she's going to be someone that you have to deal with in this conference for years to come.
Hudgens tried to take it herself. Bosgana says, I'll take that right back. Going in on heel, spins inside, and draws a foul. Defense to offense for Elena Bosgana, and she earns a trip to the foul line.
Yeah, Bosgana seeing that. That was basically cookies right in front. Took the ball, live ball, turnover, drove to the lane. Did not settle for the 3. Put her in a spin cycle. Now she has 2 free throws.
First free throw is good. Brooke Dimitri is going to wait to check in, probably coming in for Bosgana after potentially a made free throw here. Second one, left a little short, rolled around and out. That's one way to get a little bit of extra playing time for yourself.
Yeah, make sure you miss the free throw.
You know, someone's checking in for you, might as well.
That's the old school move right there. I'm sure you've done that plenty of times.
Well, that wasn't the reason why I missed the free throws, but it ended up being the case. Another deep 3, no good from Hudgens. Rebounded by Jones, and now Lapolo comes with it.
Stanford is methodically just extending this lead. Now they're up by 16.
Very often again from mid-range. You think about some of the offensive sets that Stanford loves to run. You see a lot of horns action with the two posts at the elbow. That is another evolution to what can make this offense so dangerous. You have players like Irioff and Belibi, both who have been credited of really working on that mid-range jumper. As you see the three-pointer going down from Laura Edmondson. But you see those players, not just the capability of knocking down those shots, the aggression and the courage to take those shots. It can unlock a whole different level offensively for the Cardinals.
And they moved away from the Princeton-style offense to run a double stagger screen here to more of a traditional, like you said, an A series. They can run a 4-round one. They can even go a 3-round 2 as well, like old school basketball, because they have such large size inside. They can just kind of change the game. Like I said, it's like a running game. Just continue to pound the ball at you, and then you just kind of will capitulate.
And the thing, too, with that, I think a lot of times when, I guess to continue on with the football analogy, right, a lot of times when people hear run the ball, I think they usually think of, all right, you just put it up the middle, same kind of way, same blocking schemes. A lot of different ways you can run the ball. Here's Belibi behind the back. Now the Euro step with the left. No. It was almost showtime in Maples. You saw the bench was ready to erupt. If Fran would have finished that with her left hand. Just missed. And let's keep it here for a second because I want to continue on with the analogy that you used, talking about running the ball. There's so many different ways and styles you can run the ball. And like you said, either way, it still wears down an opponent. That's the same way the Stanford team can do offensively. Of course, they can bully you in the post if they want to, but there's still so many other ways they can get the ball inside or on the paint. They can post you up. They can go pick and rolls. They can go backdoor cuts. We've seen how well they can do those in the last few years. So even with that, just like a run game, so many different ways to do it, all very lethal.
And what you have with Stanford is that they have so many bigs they can bring in the game. So it's constant pressure consistently. Can you deal with that pressure inside all the time throughout the game? You're talking about 40 minutes, they're constantly coming at you. First, they're taking the ball out the net, trying to push in transition. Once that doesn't happen, then they rotate the ball around, and then you have to deal with 3 to 4 players on the floor that can post you up. You have Haley Jones that can post you up. You have Cameron Brink that can post you up. You have Irioff that can post you up. I mean, you have so many players. The only player that plays from distance is Hannah Jump. She's kind of like the only player that does not play inside the arc. So you have to manage her as well. You throw it inside, she's going to be open. So as you mentioned earlier, you can't double down on the post, keep her on the same side of the ball. Now you have one-on-one action. So they're in a really unique situation, and you can see why they've migrated from the Princeton-style offense to more of a traditional post-up type of offense.
Well, what makes it even more fun if you're an opposing team playing this Cardinal team, now all of a sudden, too, if you talk about the traditional style offense, well, part of the traditional game, or the modern game, I guess you should say, you have bigs that can shoot from outside. So now all of a sudden, good luck for your post players who might not have that comfortability defending outside the arc. Well, you have to guard Cameron Brink out there. You have to guard Ashton Prechtel out there. You've seen Kiki Irioff knocking down some mid-range shots. Fran Belibi will take those mid-range shots. So even with the size that they have, there's versatility with that as well.
Exactly. You mentioned Prechtel. I mean, she can get hot at any point in the game. So once she gets percolated on the floor, now what that does, that opens the floor up even more because now you have to guard her. But think about it. If you come out and guard Prechtel as a center, you have matchups on the floor that you can't defend, right? You have Brink, you have Jones, you still have these 6'1" players on the floor that can play inside, and we know that Jones likes to get to the rim. Her shot is not from behind the arc; she likes to drive to the lane, so it kind of opens it up for her as well.
A turnover on the inbound pass underneath for Stanford. Haley Jones didn't agree with it. Now the Broncos trying to get to the paint. Irioff's there. Good defense from her. Now Hudgens outside. And not really many easy looks for Santa Clara. They're going to have to try to hit some contested shots like that to get back into it.
And they're playing like a pack the line type of defense. Make sure you stay below the level of the basketball as well, because they're so large inside. Force you to go to the rim and force you to shoot the ball from distance, because it's one shot now. If you don't make the shot, they're gonna get the rebound and go the other way. So it's more like a pack the line defense. We're gonna make sure that you can't get into the lanes, and you have to play from distance.
Haley Jones, pull up from the elbow.
I mean, that's her game, right at that elbow area. 10 feet, she's money.
Once again, you see Santa Clara, they try to get inside some drive lanes, nothing there, and then they have to bring it right back out. Shot clock starts dying down on them. And this is where Stanford draws them into a tough shot. Pritchard, nice swing pass, finds the wide open shooter, and knocking it down is Anna Johnson.
I mean, if you look at Santa Clara, the Broncos, they have good ball movement and man movement. They're just playing the number 2 ranked team in the country. I mean, that's the difference. I mean, not often you're going to beat the number 2 ranked team in the country, especially if they're on their home floor.
Transition 3 from Ashley Maldonado. Now the Broncos put a couple stops together and put some buckets in, but now a foul. It's going to be on Johnson. And I mean, to that point, Doc, and again, a number 2 team in the country, that's nothing to sneeze at. But there's just one part of that game against South Carolina where that goes a little differently. We're talking about Santa Clara going against the number 1 team in the country.
Exactly. I mean, you were at the game,
yeah.
So you had a front row seat on how that game actually played out. I mean, that was a whale of a game. Went into overtime. So you're talking about 2 of the best teams in the country, obviously playing into overtime. You couldn't get any better than that.
Second free throw from Boscana is good. Now she'll be subbed out along with Kiki Iriafen. Hannah Jump comes back in, and also for the first time tonight, there is Lauren Betts coming in for Stanford.
And so now you bring in Lauren Betts in the game. We haven't seen her. Now she can do work as well inside. That's my point. They can constantly bring in length throughout the game.
Three-pointer made straight on from Olivia Pollard. Good pick and pop action from the Broncos. Backdoor jump, goes up with the right hand, missed, but will go to the line for 2.
That's a nice job of moving without the basketball by Hannah Jump going to the rim. Now, it was interesting, this is only her 3rd and 4th free throws on the season. That's something that she doesn't do because she's not asked to do that. But if she can develop the game to play more inside, like cutting to the lane, it'll add more opportunities for her as well. Yeah, see here, she's cutting to the lane here, did a great job of flipping it off the glass.
I mean, to that point, she's a very, very, very good free throw shooter. We're 4 for 4 now on the year. But, I mean, to your point, that's just not where you'll usually find her. Excuse me, she's 3 for 3 tonight, not 4, because she had the and 1 on a 3. But coming into tonight, 69 total shot attempts for Hannah Jump on the year. Nice little baby hook from Edmondson. 57 of those 69 shots were threes.
And that's what she's here to do. So she does a great job of that. Nice pocket pass to Believe inside. Second side circuit shot off the rim for the bucket.
Job well done on both ends. The pass from Jump and then the finish by Believe. The 3, no good. Stanford looking to run. Jump with it. Now Haley Jones and Stanford will set things up. Lopolo. They went under the screen. She made her pay.
And that's one area that will improve with her because, again, they went under the screen based on the scouting report. But once she's able to knock that down on regularity, that'll open up the screen roll game big time.
Third three-pointer made on the year for Talana Lopolo. Pritchard with it. Under a minute to go in quarter number 3. Now Pritchard, shot clock to 6. Pritchard trying to drive on Jones. Steps through, left it short. A lot of traffic in there. And now Lapolo's going to push. Watch the freshman go down the lane. Spin move to the right and was sent away by Edmondson, and it went off of Lapolo. And Santa Clara will take possession back.
Yeah, Lapolo was on the accelerator, drove it up the lane line, put her in a spin cycle. I love that move by Believe. The shot lift, gathers itself, second side, flips it off the glass for the bucket. Fundamentally, that was solid all the way around.
I think that's another thing, though, with Hannah Jump. Obviously, whenever she's mentioned, the first thing you're going to bring up is her shooting ability. But you have to give her credit, too, for how she's evolved as a playmaker as well, being able to make passes like that.
Yeah, 4 years in the program. Confidence level increased. Her fitness level increased as well.
Another three-pointer down and true. Laura Edmondson again stepping out for the 6-foot tweener for the Broncos. Final shot probably coming for Stanford. Indy Navarre with it. Now Dimitri, she's going to take the three. Misses to the right. Beliebe got it off in time, but it goes off the rim and out, and that's how we will end quarter number 3. Well, the Broncos offensively finished with a little bit of a spark. They made 5 of their last 7 field goals to bring the deficit back down to 13. We'll take a break. When we come back, fourth quarter action here in Maples. Fourth quarter about to get underway in Maples. 64-51 in favor of the home team Cardinal. But Doc, ever since that media timeout, Santa Clara has actually been outscoring Stanford. So since that 4:18 mark, Santa Clara outscored Stanford 14-10.
Yeah, 22-24 in that third period, the best scoring period for Santa Clara and the best scoring period for Stanford as well to get them back in this game.
We talked about the three-point shots that the Broncos have been putting up. Nice pass. Good recovery from Brink, but just a bit too late. It's going to get charged for the foul. That'll be her 4th.
And that's a great job of cutting to the rim by Edmondson as her man turned her head, focusing on the basketball versus the man. And she was able to grab it and get to the front of the rim. She'll have opportunity for a couple of free throws.
Also a good job by Adriana Basalo as well. She looked off where she was going to pass. I thought she was going to come out here to the wing, and then last minute saw the cutting Edmondson, to your point, which led to the foul. So with 4 fouls, Brink will come back out. So will Navarre as both Ghana and Lapolo come back in for Stanford.
And I tell you what, as we was talking on the break, Bronco team is legit.
Yes.
I mean, they're they're going to give some teams in the WCC a lot to handle.
Pull up for jump, no good. Jump ball. As you see, Ashley Hiraki holding on for dear life with Kiki. And the ball will stay with Stanford's possession.
But that's what you want to see, the toughness.
They go right over the top area often. She kept it high, couldn't finish. Ball tipped around. And the rebound goes to Edmondson. Here come the Broncos the other way. Tess Heel try to go with the left hand again. Good job defensively. Hannah jump on the Broncos' best player.
Yeah, she does a great job. Well, their team does a good job in terms of dribble drive offense, getting 2 feet inside the paint to come to a nice jump stop, step through. Just not able to get the basket because of the length inside.
Entry pass was tipped. Wapola was going for Erie often. Now Heel with it. Driving on Boscana. Tried to turn the corner, maybe for a reverse, but it wasn't there. Nice crossover move back to the left. Good cut. Edmondson beats Erie often for 2.
Same thing again. Basala does a great job. We talked about getting 2 feet inside the paint, come to a jump stop, and driving down the middle for his Edmondson again for the layup.
There you go. Nice 2-man action. Lozgana to Jones off the screen for 2.
Yes, nice job. Same side, single side screen with Bosnana and Jones was able to find a roll into the basket.
Heel saw Erie often stepping over last minute, tried to dump it off to Edmondson, but it's taken away. Here comes Haley Jones with it, goes for the spin. I tell you what, you might want to go right back to Haley Jones. She has a mismatch if she wants to go inside. Erie often, mid-range, no. But again, you have to be pleased and encouraged if you're a Stanford fan by how often she's been willing to take that shot tonight.
Yeah, that's a work-in-progress shot. I mean, you look at that coming from last season, that's going to be a money shot for her as the season progresses.
Basalo going to take the 3, no. Haley Jones flying in for the rebound and takes it off the bounce.
This is where Haley Jones is most effective here.
Throws a fastball into area off and back out. Boscana, 3-pointer, no. There's Jones on the rebound, 1 dribble. Irioffin left it short, tipped around. Jones has it, and she'll slow it down.
Multiple opportunities, talking about second chance shots, offensive rebounds. Stanford does a great job again.
Good take, Haley Jones draws the foul. That one, I believe, is going to be on Olivia Pollard. And if so, that is her 3rd. Now some subs coming in as Kiki Irioffin comes back in for Stanford. And on the other side of it, saw Ashley Maldonado coming back in.
You see as Haley Jones going downhill was hit right off the top of her head. Second of 2 free throws. First one was good.
Anna Johnson also back in for the Broncos, along with Lexi Pritchard. 68-55, Stanford by 13. That's exactly the deficit we started the quarter with. Maldonado on the drive, picks up her dribble. Now Johnson. Again, Stanford switching everything outside. 3-pointer, left slot is good. That from Olivia Pollard.
Pollard's been outstanding this evening.
13 for Pollard. And we saw Santa Clara shoot 5 of 11 from 3 in that 3rd quarter. We talked about how the offense has really been showing up more and more outside and further away from the basket. Well, they took advantage of it in that quarter, and they took advantage of it here. You have a lot of people outside. The driving lanes will be open.
They're spacing the floor and forcing Stanford bigs to come out in this 5-out motion offense, and they're finding a lot of driving lanes to the rim.
6 minutes to go, 8-point game now. Hannah jumps. She says, if you want to play the 3-point game, that's fine by me.
Nice job coming off the screen and roll, was able to stick the jumper down. Much needed basket for the Cardinal.
3-point bonanza going on right now. That one no good from Pollard. Now Haley Jones Gives to Jump. Nice screen set for Hannah Jump. You won't see that often.
Pretty much the same offense, the same look they ran before with Jones with the handoff to Jump. Screen roll here. First one you mentioned she knocked it down. That's the one she knocked down. The other one she was not able to make the basket.
Well, here we are, 5.5 minutes left to go. Cameron Brink's in now with her 4th foul, so it'll be interesting to see how she plays the rest of the way. And Stanford with the 11-point lead. And we're going to have a timeout here called by Bill Carr. Well, we'll take a timeout with them. Santa Clara hanging in there. The number 2 team in the country, the Cardinals, 71-60 with 5:15 left to go. Well, it wasn't labeled a dance cam, but it surely turned into a dance cam here in Maples. Everyone in on the dancing action during the timeout. It got flexed into a media timeout. And coming out of the break, Janiyah Harriel getting her first action tonight for the Cardinals. 71-60, 5:15 left to go. And just like that, we're going to get a 3. Nice ATO action for the Broncos.
So that was a great timeout. As I mentioned earlier, they're going to try to run something to get Brink into action, which they did. Knock down the 3 balls. That's great coaching by Carr.
3-pointer again by Pollard, having a great game. 16 now for her. 4 of 10 from outside. But Cameron Brink says, you want 3 on the other end? I'll get 3 the old-fashioned way. With a score and a chance for one more at the line for Cameron Brink.
So they recognize that she had a matchup that she can win and got a great inside pass. You see she's 2 feet in the paint. Easy shot for her. Now opportunity for the old-fashioned 3-point shot.
Well, she had 2 feet in the paint, but not even that. One was in the restricted area circle. Pretty hard to stop an All-American if she gets that kind of position.
Yeah, you would say that's great positioning there, right?
I would think so.
That's literally posting up in the painted area.
And I'd say more times than not, you probably should get the ball to Cameron Brink if she has that position too.
Yeah, exactly. But going back to that timeout about Bill Carr, we talked about it at the break. He recognized that Brink was in the game with 4 fouls, so it was going to be something that he can run at her because she can't be aggressive defensively. Great job of coming off the screen roll. Pollard was able to knock down a step-back 3. But if that was not going to happen, it probably was going to run some sort of action between Tess Hill, get a switch out on Brink, trying to get it to the front of the rim and try to get that 5th foul, because Stanford has struggled defensively against Santa Clara when Brink's not in the game.
Well, right now for Stanford, as we have this timeout, going over a couple of notes here. As it stands, they have 5 players that have scored in double figures. And that's something to note because so far for Stanford, the last 52 games, when they've had at least 4 players in double figures, they've won 50 of those 52, including 30 straight.
Yeah, you're talking about a balanced attack. You have 4 players currently on the season right now that's scoring in double figures as well. Brink at 11, or Iriopin with 14, Jump with 17, Believe off the bench with 12. That's huge minutes to come off the bench with 12 points. And Haley Jones has 12. She averages 11 points a game. So they're doing a great job of sharing the basketball judiciously. Everyone's getting touches on the basketball. You know, and when we talk about offense, and one thing Waddy wanted to kind of just mention here, when players know they're going to touch the basketball, they run and cut harder, right? Because that's in terms of pace, right? Pace of play on the offensive end in the half-court set is extremely important when everyone's touching the basketball, because that means if I cut hard, I might get it. And so that's why you see a lot of pace on the floor in regards to Stanford offense. You can say the same thing for Santa Clara. You see a lot of man moving, ball moving, and they're cutting hard, creating driving lanes, because guess what? You may get the basketball if you cut hard. And also, if I cut hard, why do you know what happens? It opens up the floor for the next person as well. So it's a reason why you cut hard. You may get it, but you're actually working with your teammate as well.
Well, here's another part to that, too, especially on the Stanford side. If you don't continue to cut hard and run hard and make the right reads or plays, there's a lot of talented players on that team, so there's a good chance you might be coming out.
No, you're definitely not going to play.
Strong take from Pritchard, but left it short. Now Lopolo going to push. Leaves it for Navarre. Thought about it for a second. Now it's in the hands of Haley Jones. Looks like she's going to try to go to Brink on the post. Now goes to the corner. Lopolo 3. No, off back iron. Rebound for Johnson.
And they missed Brink because she did her work early. She was wide open in the post, kept calling for the basketball. She wanted to even try to reverse it to the other side. They didn't see her.
Little bit of a screen. At least it turned out that way. The three-pointer, though, no good from Edmondson. Her first miss from beyond the arc. And all the way in, India Navarre. Another talented young player. The freshman from Apex, North Carolina. More of your traditional two-guard, if you will, for Stanford.
Yeah, Navarre did a great job. Straight line drive, got downhill and took the contact and was able to finish high off the glass.
Pritchard trying to get in the lane. Good defense. Hannah Jump, moving her feet, staying in front. Now Maldonado, guarded by Haley Jones. Nice pass, but Edmondson could not handle it, and that's another shot clock violation. That's at least the third or fourth one I've seen now that Stanford has drawn Santa Clara into.
And this is talking about that straight line drive to the rim. Nice job, Lopolo, with keeping her chin up and is able to make the pass across the court. And that's always a difficult pass to defend because the defense is always following the basketball, so the opposite side is typically open if you can make the pass.
Brink off that fade screen again for Jump. Now in the area often. Might see a shoulder come in here. Nice pass out to Brink. Now to Jones. 3 players on the floor at any given time right now for Stanford can use the paint and inside of their advantage, and that time was Haley Jones.
Yeah, Jones with the jump hook over the left shoulder on the left block is money.
Nice backdoor cut this time again from Ashley Hiraki, and all Hannah Jump could do to prevent the easy 2 from being scored is foul.
Yeah, sometimes when you get base cut and what happened to Jump there, the fact of the matter is you always have to move in the direction of the basketball, making sure you're watching man and ball. She's not able to do so. She got beat on the back cut.
So Hiraki at the line, just 1 of 2 going into this trip. 11 points, 3 of 8 shooting against the Huskies of Washington. Splits a pair again, but good hustle to get the rebound. Deep 3, no good from Basalo. We'll have a jump ball. And Basalo shot that one almost down from Santa Cruz.
Yeah, Basalo on the evening is 0 for 6, 0 for 5 from behind the arc. Came into the game shooting 43% from behind the arc, so they definitely miss her 3-point shooting.
Oh, and looks like some miscommunication on a switch, and wide open was Ashley Hiraki. I don't think even she expected to be that open. She almost went to go set another screen.
In fact, I thought that Stanford was taking out the ball because she was that wide open. I was like, man, she is wide open.
And you talked about Vassallo. It looked like everyone was so worried about her action. Again, that's that shoulder for Kiki Iriofan. Good job, though, on the scouting report. If you're Laura Edmondson, I know you had to take the hit, and that one stings a little bit. But right in position, she was ready for it and draws the offensive foul.
I love the move, though, the reverse pivot out, drop step. Shows the aggression, but again, her footwork is spot on.
How about a round of applause, too, for athletic trainer Caitlin Knox getting down there to get the sweat spot off the floor.
I had a chance to talk to Caitlin before the game. She's been here for several years. She's an institution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember when she was first here, started off, actually was one of the trainers for the football team, so had a good chance to build a good relationship with her. Actually, it's funny enough, our birthdays are one day apart. Another tough shot from Tess Hill, no good. Again, going inside on the trees, no pun intended. Tough action. Nice pass, Cameron Brink over to Iriofan.
What's more impressive by the pass by Brink, the body control not to get the pass and crash for a fifth foul.
She had one of those as well against South Carolina where she was in the air and almost did like a little behind the head pass. I believe that was either Iriofan or maybe Lauren Betts as well. And I thought what was as impressive as the pass was, what I love even more about it was how excited Cameron Brink was about the assist after the fact. Three-pointer, Hutchins no good. And Haley Jones will slow things down.
So overall, I would say for Santa Clara, great job this evening, regardless of the score. Don't look at the score. Look at what you're able to do, what you've been able to accomplish. They played the number 2 ranked team in the country, and they put up 66, may have an opportunity with 68 to 70 points.
That's an area that not many teams that play Stanford, they get to say that they score around that total. As here's a three-pointer from Hiraki, no good. Rebound for Hannah Jump. And defensively, Stanford has held 72 of its last 78 opponents to 41.8% shooting or lower. And since the end of the 2019-2020 season, there hasn't been any team that scored over 77 against Stanford.
And Pollard continues to show her ability to score at 3 levels.
80-69 the score. Hannah Jump, pull-up jumper from the elbow is pure. It's another good outing for Hannah Jump, 19. Again, that's what she had down in Hawaii against Grambling State. The shot clock's dead. We'll see if Santa Clara holds for one final shot. A good offensive possession. Tess Hill spins on Haley Jones. Her length is right there for the block. Lopolo will have it and will go right across the timeline to dribble out the rest of the clock. And that'll do it. Stanford gets win number 9 in 10 outings so far on the early year, the 82-69 win.
Yeah, again, Stanford showed why they're the number 2 ranked team in the country, but they was challenged tonight by Santa Clara. The Broncos came up, put up 69 points. We talked about the fact of the matter is that Stanford gave up 52 points the last 3 games. Defensively, they scored 80 points, so 82 points tonight. They scored 80 points the last 3 games, 52 points on defense, 69 tonight. So, again, you have to tip your hat to the Broncos.
Yeah, Santa Clara, we talked about it. Stanford usually, you don't get over that 42% mark shooting with them, and really, that's where Santa Clara was until that last shot that was blocked by Haley Jones that put them underneath 42%. But a very good outing for them. I thought it was really impressive. They shot 38% from outside. And again, in spurts, you really saw it. Even earlier you saw where they would take that defense, lead into offense. They had a couple of transition threes, quick threes. Something tells me, and we talked about it again earlier in the broadcast, they're not going to finish 8th in the WCC.
No, I can guarantee that. I can tell you that right now. They are a quality basketball team, as you mentioned. When you do those preseason rankings, I remember when I was coaching, they did the preseason rankings. they're basically going off of your last year's roster. So a lot of these players that they don't take account for, I mentioned Tess Hill. I mean, she's going to be a quality basketball player. She's definitely going to be one of the top players in the WCC. You have Edmondson has played well. You got House that played well. So they have players, but Pollard played outstanding as a sophomore. She had a great game tonight. So for Santa Clara, you only can be excited for what they have in their future moving forward.
Couple of numbers for you for Stanford leading the way points-wise was Hannah Jump. She had 19 on 6 of 12 shooting, including 4 of 8 from outside. It was another double-double for Haley Jones. 14 points, 11 rebounds, also pitched in 3 assists. Another overall clean game for Talana Lopolo in terms of distributing the ball. Only 3 points on 1 of 6 shooting, but only 2 turnovers to go counter the 6 assists. And also was really impressive. Haley Jones had 3 blocks as well.
Yeah, she played a well of an all-around game. I mean, she's been doing it all season long. She's averaging 11 points a game. So she understands what she needs to do in terms of being successful. But, again, you're talking about Stanford, 4 players coming into the game averaging double figures. They had 5 tonight, so they shared the basketball extremely well.
Well, next up for Stanford, they'll be right back here in Maples going up against the Gonzaga Bulldogs. And, of course, if you know anything about Stanford and Gonzaga when they play, I know usually it's been up in Spokane, but it's more times than not a very good matchup. It's going to be a fun one that continues on this very challenging non-conference schedule for the Cardinal. Well, that'll do it here tonight once again. Thanks for tuning in with us alongside Joaquin Wallace and for our phenomenal Stanford crew. Thanks again for tuning in tonight. Your final score once again, Stanford 82, Santa Clara 69. Have a good rest of your night, and we hope to see you on Sunday when Stanford takes on Gonzaga.